Sarba is currently a product security consultant at Umpqua Bank. She's also the Oregon affiliate membership chair for women in cybersecurity. And she is also the Oregon chapter lead for InfoSec Girls and a founding member of Women H2H, a global community for women leaders and change makers. She's also a passionate volunteer, an advocate for women's empowerment and education equity, while being an artist, writer, and mentor at heart, dedicated to helping individuals and organizations to become more compassionate, curious, and cyber smart. I welcome you, Sarba, our esteemed guest speaker.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shashi, and thank you, Nehal, thank you, Dhaval, and thank you to the entire Rainbow Secure team for having me today. So I hope you enjoy the session. I'll be speaking briefly about the security considerations for fintech, and I'll just go ahead and share my screen. So I hope uh, you all can see my screen. So today we will be talking about the key considerations for security in the fintech industry. And what is the agenda? So we will talk about some of the key security concerns in fintech. What can we do really to address it and the road ahead? So, who am I? And thanks to Dr. Shashi, who was very kind enough to give a very nice introduction about myself. So, at work, I'm a product security consultant, but I'm a volunteer at heart, and I like to volunteer my time and efforts for different initiatives, especially for empowering more women and underrepresented groups in cybersecurity. I'm also inspired to create a curious, compassionate, and cyber smart world. So, before we get started, I think this is one of my favorite quotes from The Art of War, which is by the Chinese author Sun Tzu. What he says is, if you know yourself and your enemy, you need not fear the results of 100 battles. Now, I'll maybe give you a few seconds to sink in, to let this thought sink inside you. Because, for example, today's digital space where all of us thrive, where all of us exist, in our social media accounts, in our online banking accounts, in the e commerce websites. So, all of us, we have a digital persona. And I mean, in this virtual world, there are many friends, definitely, but there are also some malicious threat actors who are sitting there. Some people who are maybe putting a mask and I mean, they are moving around you as your insider threats or malicious insiders. And some people are there out there as cyber criminals who are, waiting for that opportunity to pounce on your data, to pounce on your money, and to take it away. So, this quote by Sun Tzu is very, very relevant even in today's time, especially in the digital space. So, what this actually means for the security in fintech. So, fintech, in essence, is financial technology. So, most of the banks today, most of the insurance companies today, they have a digital presence. So, it's not just about people physically going to a bank and depositing money. Nowadays, I mean, across the world, you can just transfer money very easily. You can I mean, claim your insurance. There's money uh, in the digital space that's circulating like a huge stream every now and then, and every second billions of transactions are happening. So what this means is, in essence, like, if we learn from Sun Tzu, what we understand is that first you need, as a fintech company, you need to understand what your critical assets are. So the first question you should ask yourself is to, how do I identify myself? How do I identify those applications and those assets which are most critical to me, which have the most implication for my customers, and at the same time, have I taken the right controls to protect those assets? So, the first step, and this is quite simple, is that if you identify your asset inventory and threat landscape, that's the first step. So that takes us to this trend. So, what are the current security concerns in fintech? So, according to the Verizon data breach report from the 2020, which is again not too far off in the future, I mean in the past. So, 86% of data breaches were financially motivated. So, that's a huge eye opener for us, and we know that most of the digital crimes that happen, most of them are driven by the malicious threat actors' desire to take away money. So it's as simple as that. And in the current times, social engineering fears are the ones that predominate. So customer targeted phishing and employee targeted phishing are on the rise, especially in the fintech industry. The rest of the threat landscape currently is data theft is like around 5%, synthetic identity fraud is like around 2%, denial of service and endpoint security are also other concerns. So, what are the upcoming concerns? So, one of the biggest things is supply chain attacks, because I mean, banks, when they are trying to build their banking products, they are sometimes not dependent on themselves, but they use a vendor and a sub vendor. So, the problem is that if there is an security issue in any of those vendors or sub vendors, that can actually affect the banks. So, it's banks and even the fintech in general. Then you have virtual private network attacks. So basically, with remote work happening, with many important employees who are working remotely, most of the attackers will actually target your VPN. And if you do not have the right proper like security protocols, or you don't have a proper authentication mechanism dialed in for your VPN solution, that can lead to a big problem for you. And then cloud based attacks are also one of the biggest concerns. So, what we can do about it? So, first is like first step. I mean, and this is out of my experience in both pen testing and also, I mean, IT risk in general, is that first you start with identifying your critical assets, create an asset inventory, discipline yourself, have a rigorous process in place uh, to kind of balance the different security requirements that you want to do. Don't overdo something which I mean, let your risk assessment determine which controls you want to take, and let nothing you know let nothing else deter you from not implementing the controls that you really want to. So I can give you maybe a small example. So for example, in one of the applications that you're dealing with, suppose there are issues with regards to authentication. So then you if you also, I mean, that doesn't mean that you'll just focus completely on authentication and then ignore your vulnerability management services. So you have to take a very phased approach, very systematic, very disciplined approach to balance the different cybersecurity requirements in your threat landscape. Adapt. So threat intelligence is a very important source, especially for the banking industry, to stay ahead of what's going to occur in the future. So there is a very good website or a very good symposium of people. It's called FS ISAC. That's a very a great community of people, especially from the fintech industry, who come together and then they discuss the threat landscape and they discuss what lies ahead. Balance between security and compliance. So, as a fintech company, you will always be subjected to different kinds of regulations, financial and otherwise. So, but what this leads to is a culture where you want to just take over things because you want to satisfy the regulators, maybe sometimes. But what very good in banking institutions or other institutions do is that they really take that time and effort to systematically work on their security requirements. They then build that into their design, and then that leads them to be their compliant. And that leads to their compliance. Actually, the security is a way for them to be compliant and not the other way around. So these are, I mean, some of the. I just wanted to keep this brief, but this is like an end to my presentation. But then I just want to quickly take you all to some of the important resources that I'll also share in the chat today. So one of the resource that I suggest is that there's a very good white paper by Blue Leaf. It's the cyber secure threat intelligence for banking and financial service. It's a very good white paper which also talks about some of the uh, breaches that has happened, and then that also includes some of the threats like credentials theft, malware infection, and then it also goes down to DDoS, and then also talks about different threat actors. So and given the short time of this presentation, I could not really get the time to cover all of this, but I'll share this white paper with you. Please take the time to read it. And as I said, like some of the ways in which you can actually manage your cyber risk is uh, having some kind of an executive level engagement, and then having incident response readiness, continuous monitoring. So whatever are the key principles that I spoke about in this presentation, so the specifics of that you can get it in this white paper. So I would really encourage you to do that. And the simple reason why financial sector is targeted, because it has a lot of money. They cyber criminals get a lot of recognition if they breach if the data breach is on a bank, then that makes it to the next headlines. And then some people are also trying to push their political and personal agendas. And credentials theft is again one of the major concerns, threats, and then malware infection. And that's what I think solutions like Rainbow Secure is a great help here. So yeah, I mean, these are different kinds of metrics, and you can just look at this report. The other one that I wanted to share with you is that there's website called CSI Web, where they have created a report on the cybersecurity threats in 2021. And what I like the most about this write-up or this blog is that you have 15 ways to mitigate cybersecurity threats in 2021. So it has a very good systematic approach of including different kinds of process level initiatives that you can take to protect your uh, financial applications. And then I would recommend you to also visit or be a member of FS ISAC if you are already in the cybersecurity space and in the banking industry or in the financial sector. They are a great community of people who are coming together to discuss about the emerging threats in the banking industry or in the finance industry. And their focus is basically intelligence, resilience, and trust. So yeah. So I mean, I think I just wanted to give you a brief insight about what are the key considerations you should do. And in essence, what this means is that uh, just try to identify your threat landscape, identify your assets, find the best solutions that address your security concerns. Always look ahead. Never be satisfied that yes, my cybersecurity program is perfect. Now I can, just get a good sleep and then everything will be fine. So always be on the lookout of emerging threats and concerns in the industry, and talk to people, collaborate with people, and also do your best to give back to the community by also sharing your knowledge with others. So I think with that note, I would like to stop sharing, and then again I want to thank Nehal, Dhaval, and Dr. Shashi and the entire Rainbow Secure team for having me here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sarma. What a nice, T20 style presentation, but it was really concise and, equally impactful,
Thank you.
powerful, I would say. Yes, you're right. Everything starts with, right authentication and right app security, first of
Yes.
all. Whether you are talking about the employee side of the use case or the customer side of the use case, you
Mhm.
have to focus on actually how your applications are behaving, working. Because if you don't do it, hackers is gonna do it anyway.
Yeah,
So you have to
absolutely.
be, yeah, upgrade right on time. And thank you also for sharing the resources that if someone like Rainbow Secure want to engage the financial community, that resource is gonna be equally helpful to us.
Yes, yes.
And I have very good comments for you in the chat. Many
Mhm.
people are actually pained by, their bank account data being shared with other organizations because,
Mhm.
today, as soon as you open a new account, somebody's saying that they get tons of mails and emails from other organizations. So I think
Absolutely.
that's where maybe something better can be done with
Yes,
data access governance and sharing.
yes.
And I have from the audience side, I
Mhm.
have a question for you.
Yeah.
Suppose somebody wants to work for say on the new fintech app, and they want to take or integrate with banking system. What are
Mhm.
the guidelines or what the approach should be if you're in a area of developing your own fintech platform and you
Okay.
need banking APIs?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So first thing I would say is first start with the regulations that whatever, whichever industry, whichever geography you're based at, whichever legislations around the banking are affecting your application, you should first start with that. And for example, like in the banking here in the US, especially for privacy, we have to adhere to the CCPA guidelines. If we have a presence in California, then we have to also look at ADA. But ADA is not security, but it's more of the American Disability Act. So it's more about the, not the security, but it's again a compliance regulation. And at the same time, so first start with a benchmark of what are the base. So all the compliance regulations are your basic necessities. You should first adhere to that. Second is, I would believe every fintech application in general should have a threat modeling exercise. They should start with security requirements, and they should do a threat modeling and an architecture review. Must, that's something that's not negotiable. And the third thing is, then you also look at some of the guidelines that I like is especially the OASP guidelines on APIs. So start with that. And threat modeling and then secure code review, these are the things that you should not negotiate, especially for fintech applications. So I would highly encourage you to consider that as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Sarva, for highlighting that. Yes,
Yeah.
I think our one of the other guests, Viraj Gandhi, also spoke
Mhm.
a lot about. I think having your AppSec at each stage of your development
Yes.
process. So I think
Mhm.
this resonates that,
Yeah.
and we also at Rainbow Secure work with our partners and internal
Mhm.
resources to help the other founders and startups in the fintech and healthcare space to evaluate their architecture, evaluate their database security, and we have
Awesome.
them. But this is very important, yes, that if you are in a area of banking and fintech, then you
Yeah.
have to go for the regulations and also
Yes.
try to improvise the user experience.
Yes,
But
absolutely. Balancing your
yeah,
security with user
yes,
experience. Yes.
equity of the user experience, and that's
Yeah.
the key thing. Yes. Now, if you want to give any, say, guidance to the new student or somebody who's just coming out of their masters, what
Yes.
guidance you would have for them if they want to join any banking sector organization
Mhm.
or as a security professional?
Sure. So thank you for that question. So I think one thing is if you get an internship at a bank, that will be a great learning experience for you, especially because security and compliance are taken very seriously in banks. So if you get a internship or a starting position in a bank, that will be a great learning point for you because you can learn different things. And if you have the flexibility of also working across departments, so within a span of 3 to 5 years you can become a holistic cybersecurity experts with your knowledge across different domains in the bank. I think a bank is a great starting point for anyone who wants to learn about cybersecurity strategy, compliance, and even security in general. So um, please try to apply for banks, but I think for experienced roles, they usually require some kind of experience. So to break into that field, it's better if you maybe start with an internship.
That's nice. Thank you for the answer. And if anybody has any more questions, we can ask Sarva now, or we can forward your question to Sarva, and she can answer offline. But anyway, it was great, quick presentation. But it was really nice that you really highlighted the essential points, and then you said the document. I saw some asking that. Can you please share the link to the document in the chat? Oh yeah, I see that you.
Yeah, I've shared.
That's nice. That's nice. Thank you again for coming
Thank
over
you,
here.
Sarva.
Thank you very much for having me. And thank you so much for the kind words. I think personally, I'm going through a little tough time now because of a few things. But I mean, being here, it really motivated me and it inspired me to do my best. So I'm very, very grateful to everyone and also to all the kind people in the chat who wrote such amazing things. Thank you once again for having me.
Thank you,
Thank you and
Sarva.
wish you all the good luck. Yeah.
Thank you.